out to the big galah and halfway across Australia. So from Corn, we headed off via Saltia, again apologies if it's wrong, Stirling North, Port Augusta, and on to Kimba, which was our next destination. Oh, I can't speak highly enough of Kimba, and I can't remember where we had lunch, but it was a wonderful little quaint cafe in town there. Beautiful food. We visited the information centre. We hadn't yet figured out where we were going to stay. No, yes, we had. We'd gone up to the recreation ground, the big football ground, AFL football and netball. I suppose we were there at 2 o'clock and there might have been half a dozen there, but it filled up pretty quickly. And this is a donation camp, but if I was rating shitters, some of the best shitters in the game, this one, and all cleaned and run by community volunteers, people, and this sense of community started to hit me here in Kimba. Now the lady in the information centre had said that on a Thursday night, and this was indeed a Thursday night, there was a feed put on at the football clubhouse, and the information there was a bit scant, but well, we thought we'll eat there. It was training night, and it all came together as we went, and I went and watched a bit of the training, and the old nostrils flared from, even though I coached a different code, you never lose that sense of a lot of things actually. And there's a big kid, he'd have been 6'3", 6'4", might have been 15, 16. Just a beautiful set of hands, beautiful hand-eye coordination, beautiful foot through the ball, just quite naturally what he did. But anyway, while I was standing there watching that, a couple of the men came over, and it's quite a big gathering, and you don't just drop your kids off, you come and you participate, cleaning up, whatever. And they came and asked me where I was from and what we did, and then I got to ask some questions back, which is pretty much unlike me. I'm not much one for conversation. And so these guys grow wheat, and they're telling me it's not so much the best year. And I asked, do you get contractors in to do your halves thing? No, we've mainly got our own gear. Most of us got our own gear. And they were telling me that they're just changing to, a more minimum zero till sort of the outfits that we've had on the Darling Downs and northern New South Wales for years and years. So as far as that part of it's concerned, they seem somewhat behind where these guys are up here. And I said, so you send all your grain to Viterra. Viterra's got a bit of a hold on it, and they said, well, it once was that, but now we've got Teaports, and we drove past the Teaports depot on the way in. It seemed to be quite a sizable operation, and I understand that there was a couple of quite big farmers there. But anyway, we came back at about, I don't know, 6 o'clock or so, and we were told the meal would be 7 o'clock, and that's where we were a bit scant on details. And it turns out that it's the football club. There was a group of men and fathers and players and whatever, out in the kitchen there, cooking away with schnitzels and vegetables and chips. Only $15 and just a huge feed. Quite well supported actually. A lot of people came in for a feed. They did tell me the next day how many meals they did. They were quite happy with that. So that was a really good feed. And as we were getting ready to leave, well, actually it was the Friday and we were leaving on a Saturday morning, I noted that they were, doing line marking and setting up tents, and I just commented, home game, eh? And it was actually quite a big home game. I can't remember what the occasion was, but it was some sort of a celebration of something. And just the workforce was phenomenal, I think they had 4 or 5 teams from juniors through, and maybe 6 or 7 netball teams all competing. And the crowd was quite spectacular as we left. It was, and I'll put up a little bit of footage of that. I couldn't help myself but grab a little bit. Beautiful field, beautiful facilities, and dedicated people, really dedicated people. Of course, Kimba was a silo art destination, and we went down in the afternoon, and the lady at the information centre, and I'm thinking we heard it incorrectly, she said that they put some lights on from 8 o'clock. We headed down at about 7:45. By the time I got my gear set up, the lights turned off. So I think what she meant was some solar gear put the power into a battery, and they had enough for about 2 hours, and they turned off at 8 o'clock. So I didn't get anything at night from Kimba. Viterra Kimba silo art. Still a working site, so punters not welcome on site, which is just fine. You never know, you might get sprayed with something nasty, you might get hit by a road train, eaten by a large man-eating cockatoo, or sucked up and cut into little pieces by an auger, so best you stay out. Painted 2017. Of course, on the first day that we arrived, we hit the bricks. Really interesting little I don't know what you call it, antiques, bit of an everything sort of a store, really. Beautiful stuff there. But great community. Really enjoyed Kimba. So anyway, we did that little lap, that little block there, down to the Big Galah. And of course, this represents halfway across Australia. Well, here we are at the Big Galah and halfway across Australia. And if you look at that truck turning there, you got to do a bit of a right and then a left back onto the Eyre, and it's kind of a slip lane for the trucks. And I watched a guy, and this concerns me, driving an AV triple, and he had real trouble negotiating that. Now I don't drive a truck on the road, I can drive them, but I would have no trouble at all negotiating that turn, and this bloke had a lot of trouble. And he's on a big road in a big truck. That truck could probably go to grossing at maybe 100 tonne. Maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. I don't know. I'd have to look at South Australia and Western Australia laws. But quite big anyway. Bit of a police presence beside the highway at Kimba this afternoon. Don't think they're looking for dirty Queenslanders. In fact, they're pulling trucks over. Got the witch's hat, all the gear. So we had a bit of a look at the Big Galah and a bit of the few of the sculptures hanging around there, around the service station. Bit of a museum over there past the service station. Some old weighbridge gear, you don't see that around much anymore. First cut my teeth on some of that, half of a billion years ago. For a good time call board. Lots and lots of good times there. Another used to be a bakery, now an IGA. Although to be fair, IGA are doing a little bit of baking in-house. Plenty of places to rest for the aged, the weary, the infirmed. So also while we're at Kimba, we did the Roora Trail, R-O-O-R-A walking trail. I don't know, it's 4 or 5, 6 kilometres return. And we went up to the lookout at White's Knob. A few little caves up there, a couple of sculptures. Yeah, you can see down there, way down there is the silos and the Kimba township. Nice walk, and the wattle was getting a bit of a go on. across a bit of art here at the football grounds, and I fucked this up entirely, just being a lazy fat bastard. I should have come in the afternoon and photographed and filmed this, but I thought, well, I'll just do it on the morning we're leaving, and the sun was pretty potent. But anyway, that was one I got wrong. At most places we turn up at, it don't matter where the sun is. If we're staying, we'll figure out what the sun's doing and go at the correct time, but if we're passing through, I just got to make do with the sun and take it however it is. That's just how it is. So that's Corn and Kimba, a couple of different takes on silos. All silos are, of course, owned by Viterra, which used to be the ABB, or the Australian Barley Board, and something else before that. I'd have to look up what that was, but that information is available to everybody. Viterra came in many years ago, either took over a joint venture with the Australian Barley Board. I see recently Viterra's taken over the AWB Cargill grain flow sites in South Australia, so they're a pretty big player down there, and it becomes more and more evident as we push through the southern and eastern side of the Eyre Peninsula and down through the York Peninsula. One of the guys said to me at the Kimba footy club, just make sure you keep telling the blokes on the York Peninsula that we're better than them, or we think we are anyway. So that was the end of that part of the journey. But what really caught my eye at the back of the Viterra silos was this grain vacuum. Look at that, vacuuming out a silo. Viterra at Kimba. Something I know a little bit about. But that's a pretty good sucker machine, that one. Now, I spent a few hours on one of these, but a different type. And this is where my segue on incompetence is going to be. So this one's got its own engine, and the one I had, or the one we had, was a Wallinga, and it had a cyclone and lots of dust, and you had to empty the dust out of the cyclone receptacle every 1,000 bushels, every 25 or 30 tonne basically. Our machine did 50 tonnes an hour. Now I put the proposal up and purchased the machine. I should have put that proposal up to purchase one with its own engine. But it was about 100,000 against 50, and I wasn't sure, having not been there for very long, whether I'd get that up. Today I'm 100% sure I'd get that up. So we had to rely on the farming side of the business to supply us a tractor. Now, to run correctly, this thing needs about, I think, 180 horsepower at the PTO, or power takeoff, which is the spline that comes out of the back of the tractor that rotates. I'll see if I can find some pictures of that. And they generally give me some old shit box of a tractor with not enough horsepower, and so I could never run it at full capacity. Anyway, I had to suck out 1,000 tonne. So 1,000 tonne, 50 tonne an hour, 20 hours, sounds easy. Well, it's never that easy. As you chasing the grain and all of those sorts of things. But anyway, the farmers had recently spent about $1 million, and the farmers at this farm were genuinely incompetent. They wouldn't get a job anywhere else, and if they owned the farm, they'd have gone broke. Because there was so much money generated out of the egg producing business, and because the farming side of the business was a favourite with the owner, they had carte blanche. They could do whatever they want. They did not like being pulled up, and that's another story. But anyway, they bought me one of these new tractors. And so a guy comes in driving the tractor, and a guy comes in the ute behind him. And the guy in the ute gets out and says, well, here's 2 bags of barley seed. I thought, oh shit, this is odd. I said, why would I need 2 bags of barley seed? He said, well, you got to sit it on the seat, because when you get off the seat, the PDO stops, which makes sense in some circumstances. But these tractors and PDOs also run swing away augers and all that sort of thing. And I said, you sure there's not something in the software? No, there's nothing in the software. I said, have you asked anyone? No, we just know there isn't, so you got to put these bags on the seat. I said, oh, fuck that, I'm not going to do that. So I rang a couple of blokes who operate John Deere's, and they said that there was a bypass setting in there, so I sat down, and it was as simple as the second menu, push the PDO, and then there was a setting to turn the sensor on or off. Well, fuck me, how dumb are these people? And I generally don't run people down, but it got worse. This was incompetence at the highest level. So the next time they came in, I told them that, and they came in again and said, well, tell us again how you did that. And I took them in and showed them. But it got worse. So I'd also resigned at the time. I was just helping vacuum this silo out to get down to what needed to be fixed. And the person that took my job, and that's fine, I recommended her for the job, came back from a meeting. This place loved meetings. And she said to me, you need to start using the bags on the seat. I said, why? And I said, there's a setting in the menus to bypass the switch. And she said, well, I believe you, but they've been to the CEO and the owner and they've said that you've altered something in there and you shouldn't be allowed to do that, that wasn't how the gear was set up to work and that you're bypassing something. I said, fuck me, are you serious? She said, yeah, serious. Well, I'm not going to start using the bags because it's a really simple setting in the fucking tractor. If you want someone to use the bags, find someone else to do this shit work, because it was shit work. Anyway, I don't know what she did, whether she just went and told them a lie or whatever, because there wasn't really anyone else left to do the work and it needed to be done. My point being around the story, the fearing what you don't understand, fearing to learn about what you don't understand is a direct step to hell. Direct step to hell. And it would have taken me no more 2 phone calls, 5 minutes each, guys that own John Deere's, 10 minutes in the cab with the tractor idling, find the correct settings, and we're away. But all of a sudden, there's some big conspiracy theory to change something. So I really don't know how these blokes operate. The worst farmers I've ever dealt with were our own. Anyway, so that's Kimba. Look, I'm not someone that gets emotional and does the carry on and all those sorts of things, but Kimba was a very, very nice place. Should we go back that way, that recreation ground would be on our list of places to stay.